Tommy Caldwell had always thought something was off about Hollow Creek. Maybe it was the eerie stillness that blanketed the town at night, or the way people's smiles lingered just a second too long, as if rehearsed. But Tommy didn't dwell on these feelings. At 15, he was more concerned with sneaking out to meet his best friend, Caleb, shooting hoops behind the school, and daydreaming about escaping the monotony of his small-town life. Still, the unease crept in like shadows at dusk. It started small. A dog disappeared down the street, and no one seemed to notice. Mrs. Hawthorne, their neighbor, vanished one day, and when Tommy asked about her, his mother's response was oddly dismissive. "Oh, she moved away," she said with that placid smile. But Tommy swore he saw Mrs. Hawthorne's car still parked in her driveway days later. The tipping point came late one night. Tommy couldn't sleep. The oppressive quiet of Hollow Creek pressed against his ears. He tiptoed downstairs for a glass of water and froze at the bottom step. A strange, wet, squelching sound came from the living room. His parents were up, but their voices were low and guttural, nothing like the warm tones he knew. Curiosity got the better of him. He crept closer, peeking around the corner. His parents were hunched over the coffee table, their backs to him. The dim light from the TV flickered over their figures, and then he saw it, their hands. They weren't hands at all, but long, sinewy appendages, glistening and inhuman. Tommy stumbled back, knocking over a vase. Both figures snapped upright, their heads turning toward him with an unnatural speed. For a moment their faces flickered like a glitch in a video, revealing something alien beneath. Large black eyes stared at him, and their mouths stretched into something that was almost a smile but far too wide. "Tommy," his mother, no, the thing pretending to be his mother, said, its voice garbled yet familiar. "What are you doing up?" Tommy turned and ran, his heart pounding in his chest. Behind him, he heard heavy, wet footsteps, followed by his father's voice. "Come back, son. We need to explain." He didn't stop. He bolted out the back door, racing into the cool night air. His mind swirled with panic. What are they? What's happening? There was only one person he trusted to help him, Caleb. Tommy sprinted across town, the streets eerily empty. He reached Caleb's house and climbed up to his bedroom window. Peering in, he saw Caleb sitting at his desk, his back to the window. Relief washed over Tommy. He tapped the glass, but Caleb didn't respond. "Caleb," Tommy whispered loudly. No answer. Something about Caleb's posture seemed off. His shoulders moved rhythmically, almost like he was breathing too heavily. Tommy's eyes adjusted to the dim room, and he noticed something glistening on the floor. It was a viscous, dark liquid pooling around Caleb's chair. Tommy's stomach turned. He tapped the glass harder. Caleb turned, and Tommy's breath caught in his throat. His face wasn't Caleb's face. It was smooth, featureless, except for two dark pits where eyes should be. The thing tilted its head, as if curious, and then its flesh rippled, reshaping into Caleb's familiar face. Tommy fell off the ledge, hitting the ground with a painful thud. The noise must have alerted the creature because moments later, the window creaked open, and Caleb's voice, calm and monotone, called out, "Tommy, what are you doing out there?" He didn't wait to see what would happen next. He ran, his breath ragged, his legs aching, until he reached the woods at the edge of town. The trees loomed above him, their branches clawing at the starless sky. He stumbled into a clearing and collapsed, trying to catch his breath. His mind raced. His parents weren't human. Caleb wasn't human. Was anyone in Hollow Creek human? And then a thought struck him like a thunderclap. What if I'm not human either? His hands trembled as he raised them to his face. They felt normal, but doubt gnawed at him. Desperation took over. He clawed at his skin as if peeling it away would reveal the truth. To his horror, it did. Beneath the layer of flesh was a smooth, translucent surface. His fingers trembled as he stared at the alien material that shimmered faintly in the moonlight. He collapsed to his knees, shaking his head. "No," he whispered. "This isn't real. This can't be real." A soft rustling came from behind him. He turned to see his parents, or what used to be his parents, emerging from the trees. Their forms flickered like a faulty projection, shifting between their human facades and their true alien appearances. "Tommy," his mother said gently, her voice almost soothing, "you weren't supposed to find out like this." He scrambled back. "Stay away from me." His father stepped forward, his expression filled with something Tommy could only describe as sadness. "You're one of us, son. You always have been." Tommy shook his head violently. "No, I'm human. I'm—" "You were never human," his mother interrupted, her tone firm but kind. "We created this life for you. Hollow Creek is a sanctuary, a place for our kind to live without fear. Everything we did was to protect you." Tears streamed down Tommy's face. "So it was all a lie? My friends? My life?" "Not a lie," his father said. "A gift. A way for you to grow up without the burden of knowing what you are." Tommy's mind reeled. He looked at his hands again, at the alien surface beneath the torn skin. Deep down, some part of him had always felt different, out of place. Now he knew why. His parents extended their hands to him. "Come with us, Tommy. It's time to embrace who you are." For a long moment, he hesitated. His whole world had shattered in a single night. Everything he thought he knew was gone. But what choice did he have? He couldn't go back to the lie, and he couldn't survive alone in the truth. With trembling hands, he reached out and took theirs. As their alien forms enveloped him, he felt a strange warmth, a connection to something vast and incomprehensible. The town, the world, everything he'd known faded away, replaced by the stark reality of who and what he truly was. Tommy Caldwell was no longer a boy from a small town. He was something else entirely. And as the last remnants of Hollow Creek dissolved around him, he realized he'd never been human at all.